The coldest parts of our planet may look barren, but in reality, the ice and permafrost conceal some of the most astonishing discoveries known to humanity. The freezing temperatures help preserve artifacts and organisms that date back hundreds of thousands of years. From frozen alligators to ancient microorganisms, here are 20 instances where shocking discoveries were made in ice, revealing secrets that were never meant to be seen. Number 20. Alligator. Alligators are pretty tough creatures, not just because of their jaws but due to their incredible ability to adapt. When freshwater freezes over, alligators adjust to the plummeting water temperatures. For instance, if you visit the Charlotte River Swamp Park in Ocean Isle Beach, North Carolina, where temperatures are near freezing, you'll see alligator snouts rising above the frozen freshwater. You might think these reptiles are lifeless, but trust me, they're not. The snouts you see on the surface belong to live alligators. When the water starts to freeze, these creatures poke their snouts above the surface just before it solidifies, allowing them to breathe even when encased in ice. This behavior is called brumation, which is similar to hibernation. During brumation, alligators' metabolism slows down, and they enter a lethargic state to conserve energy and maintain their body temperature. This state of dormancy helps them survive the harsh winter months without needing to eat. You might wonder how alligators prevent themselves from freezing to death since they are cold-blooded creatures. Well, it's about timing and instinct. Alligators have been around for over 180 million years, virtually unchanged. They're like living dinosaurs, which is why they have such amazing survival mechanisms. Rest assured, these creatures are just conserving their energy, and when the ice thaws and temperatures rise again, they'll be back to their usual activities. Number 19. Ancient penguin mummies. In 2016, a research team led by Stephen Emsley, an ornithologist from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, stumbled upon an extraordinary sight at Cape Iriser in Antarctica. While exploring the barren rocky landscape, they discovered mummified remains of Adelie penguins, some of which seemed as if they had died only recently. However, subsequent radiocarbon dating revealed that the penguins had been dead for between 800 to 5,000 years. The team uncovered not just bones but feathers and skin still intact, with most of the remains being primarily chicks. It's likely that the location was once a bustling nursery for the penguin species. Over the last 5,000 years, researchers discovered that about 800 years ago, during the Little Ice Age, increasing sea ice likely made it impossible for penguins to access the beach, forcing them to abandon their nesting grounds. The remains were buried under snow and ice, only to be revealed recently due to melting ice. That's quite a tragic end to the colony. Number 18. Martian frozen water. Now let's move from Earth's permafrost to outer space. Recently, the European Space Agency's Mars Express mission made a groundbreaking discovery, a 2-mile thick layer of frozen water buried on Mars' equator. It's common knowledge that humanity has been searching for traces of life on the Martian surface for years. The existence of water on Mars could mean that somewhere on the red planet, life might exist. This 2-mile thick layer is hiding beneath layers of dust and volcanic ash. Water is essential for sustaining life and could be used for drinking, growing food, and creating rocket fuel. Finding accessible water near the equator, where temperatures are more moderate than the frigid poles, could make Mars a more viable destination for human missions. However, more research is needed to understand the possible implications of this discovery. The presence of such significant water resources could dramatically change the planning of future Mars missions, potentially reducing the need to transport large quantities of water from Earth. This discovery also opens up new possibilities for the establishment of permanent bases on Mars, as water is crucial not only for consumption but also for various other life support systems. Moreover, the ability to extract and utilize Martian water locally could be key to developing sustainable life support systems and even producing fuel for return journeys and further space exploration. Additionally, the strategic location of this water at the equator facilitates easier access and utilization due to the milder environmental conditions compared to the harsher climates of the Martian poles. This finding significantly boosts the prospects for the long-term human colonization of Mars, making the dream of a self-sustaining Martian colony more plausible than ever before. Number 17. Eerie ice homes. In 2020, homes near Lake Erie became a little eerie. Imagine how shocked people were when they found entire houses covered with thick layers of solid ice topped with several frozen layers of wavy icicle. With wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, these houses naturally froze because of the frigid weather. Usually, Lake Erie is frozen over, which protects its shoreline from being bombarded by waves. However, in 2020, the eastern end of the lake was nearly ice-free, leaving the shore exposed. When the storm hit, there was nothing to stop the water from splashing onto the homes and freezing them over. However, Those with boulders near the shore weren't as affected as those fully exposed to the beachfront. Residents claimed the thickest ice blanketing the homes was estimated to be around 3 feet thick, and was so thick that it blocked daylight from entering through the windows, making the interiors dark and eerie. Residents even described the scene as something straight out of a horror movie. Number 16. Frozen School of Fish. In 2014, locals near the rugged coast of Lofoten, Norway, discovered an astonishing sight, an entire school of fish seemingly frozen in time. While this might be shocking to many, it isn't unheard of, especially in Lofoten, part of the Helgeland archipelago. The phenomenon of fish freezing in place occurs when rapid drops in temperature freeze the surface water, trapping the fish below. In this particular case, marine researchers believe that the school of fish might have been chased by a predator, leading them to group together near the coast for refuge. As fate would have it, a sharp eastern wind of -7.8 degrees Celsius hit the region and froze the entire bay area. Essentially, the fish were in the wrong place at the wrong time. While the photos of the school of fish are incredible, there's no doubt these creatures suffered grim and tragic deaths. Number 15. Ancient Siberian Foal. This foal holds the record for the oldest liquid blood on record. The foal, discovered by researchers beneath the Siberian permafrost in 2018, belonged to the extinct Lenskaya breed and was found in the Batagaika crater, an area known for revealing ancient secrets due to its permafrost. Researchers were astounded by how well-preserved the foal was, despite having perished 42,000 years ago. The foal was in an unbelievable state of preservation, with its hair, skin, and even internal organs intact. Most astonishingly, scientists managed to extract liquid blood from the specimen. It's likely that the young horse was buried alive after drowning in mud, which quickly froze and later turned into permafrost. This natural mummification process created ideal conditions for preserving the foal's body for tens of thousands of years. The blood, extracted from heart vessels and muscle tissues, retained its natural reddish color. The foal's exceptionally preserved state offers a unique opportunity for scientists to study what life was like during the Ice Age. Furthermore, researchers from the Northeastern Federal University in Yakutsk and the South Korean SOAM Biotech Research Foundation worked on extracting viable cells that might one day allow them to bring back the long-extinct Lenskaya horse. While cloning sounds like a remarkable achievement, it raises ethical questions and conflicts, especially if applied to humans. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Number 14. Mummified goat in Alps. This might look like nothing more than the mangled body of an animal, but you're looking at a 400-year-old goat antelope, or rather, a chamois. This preserved body was discovered by Italian alpinist and champion skier Hermann Oberlechner in 2020. Hermann was on a 6-hour hike in the Italian Alps in Val di Rezzolo, South Tyrol, when he noticed this leathery horror sticking out of the ice. Needless to say, it was hard to miss. The preserved chamois was found 10,000 feet up in the Alps. Recognizing its importance, Hermann reported the discovery, and scientists enlisted the help of the Italian Army's Alpine troops to airlift the mummy out using a helicopter. It was then transported to URAC Research's conservation lab in Bolzano for study. Through this chamois, researchers hope to learn better ways to preserve the ice mummies they discover. Number 13. Slurpy waves. Slurpy waves, while sounding scrumptious, refer to one of the rarest phenomena to occur. Just imagine slush-like ice frozen in a wave form. That's exactly what happened on January 2, 2018, when the temperature on Nantucket Beach in Massachusetts plummeted to a biting 12 degrees Fahrenheit. That's well below the freezing point of saltwater, which is about 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit. A wave freezing is quite rare. When the temperature drops that low, ice crystals start to form within the ocean waves. Usually, the constant motion of the ocean prevents this from happening, but sometimes, like on that cold January day, the water calms just enough for these icy waves to form. When these waves form, it's fascinating to witness and photograph. Slurpy waves only last for a few hours before the water returns to its usual state, making capturing a photo of this rare phenomenon quite an achievement. Number 12. 57,000-year-old wolf. Meet Zur, a 57,000-year-old wolf. It's astounding what lies beneath the frozen parts of our planet. Who would have thought that a pup from over 57,000 years ago would still be preserved under the ice with its fur and teeth wonderfully intact? Zur is a wolf pup discovered in the frozen Yukon Territory of northern Canada by pure chance. We're all probably familiar with the gold rush era, and while that glorious period is long over, both Alaska and the Yukon remain major gold producers today. Gold miners use water cannons to blast through frozen mud to find gold. It was this way that a man chanced upon the perfectly preserved wolf pup locked inside permafrost. Upon learning about the pup, The locals named her Zur, which means wolf, in their native language. To this day, Zur is the most complete wolf mummy ever discovered. Her fur, skin, and even some internal organs are remarkably intact. The pup's body is so well preserved that researchers discovered she was just about 6 to 7 weeks old when she met her untimely end, likely buried alive in her den by a sudden collapse of sandy earth. If not for this grim fate, Zur would have otherwise stayed in good health. She was also well fed by her mother, mainly on fish, particularly salmon, indicating she lived close to water. This discovery is intriguing because it shows that wolves also preyed on smaller animals, not just larger land mammals like bison and muskoxen during the Ice Age. Number 11. 9,000-year-old bison. In 2011, members of the Yukagir tribe in the northern region of Siberia discovered the well-preserved remains of a steppe bison, an extinct ancestor of the modern bison that continues to roam the plains of North America and northern Europe. This particular Yukagir bison was so well preserved that its internal organs and some fur were still intact. This level of preservation is extraordinarily rare, making the Yukagir bison one of only a handful of such discoveries worldwide. It is one of the 4 complete bison mummies ever found and only the second adult specimen with preserved internal organs. This frozen bison is providing scientists with unprecedented insights into the life and environment of these ancient creatures. By examining its well-preserved anatomy, researchers can compare it directly to both modern bison and cattle, as well as other extinct species from the Pleistocene epoch. This helps in understanding evolutionary changes and adaptations over millennia. Furthermore, scientists are examining its histology, parasites, bones, and teeth, hoping to uncover not only how this particular bison lived and died, but also broader aspects of bison behavior and the environmental conditions of its time. Number 10. Mummified lion cubs. In 2017 and 2018, scientists discovered 2 lion cubs in the melting permafrost of Yakutia, Siberia. The first cub was named Sparta, and the next cub found just 50 feet away was named Boris. Due to the proximity of their final resting places, researchers initially theorized that the 2 might be siblings. However, carbon dating revealed that Boris was around 43,448 years old, making him significantly older than Sparta. Both cubs were found in remarkable condition, but Sparta's preservation was particularly stunning. Apart from slightly ruffled fur, her body was almost entirely intact, including her whiskers. This level of preservation is incredibly rare, and it seems like there's a pattern to these well-preserved creatures. Most remain well-preserved because they were rapidly buried. Both Sparta and Boris likely perished due to a mudslide or by falling into a crack in the permafrost, which then froze over, preserving them in an icy tomb. Thanks to their well-preserved bodies, researchers discovered quite a lot about cave lions. Unlike their modern kin, these cave lions had similar but not identical coats to modern African lions. The long, thick fur undercoat found on Sparta must have been an adaptation to the cold climate of the Ice Age. Today, a research team comprising scientists from Russia, Japan, and Sweden is examining Sparta's DNA to learn more about the evolutionary history of cave lions. Number 9. Baby woolly rhino. This might look like a dirty stuffed toy, but what you're looking at is actually the 10,000-year-old preserved remains of an extinct woolly rhino. This rhino calf, affectionately nicknamed Sasha, was discovered on a frozen riverbank in Siberia. When the hunter first spotted the carcass, he mistook it for a reindeer, but upon closer inspection, he quickly realized it was something else. Sasha is among the most well-preserved woolly rhinos ever found. Her front and rear legs were completely intact, and remnants of her light gray hair were still present. Even more impressively, Sasha's ears, eyes, and tongue were also well-preserved, giving scientists an opportunity to learn more about the species. The discovery of Sasha provides invaluable insights into the Pleistocene epoch and the types of environments these ancient creatures inhabited. By analyzing her remains, researchers can determine her diet, age at death, and possibly even the cause of death. This find also adds to the growing body of evidence that Siberia was once a thriving habitat for woolly rhinos, which were believed to have roamed the region extensively. The condition of Sasha's preservation is extremely rare, making it a significant find for the scientific community. Studies on Sasha and similar finds continue to contribute to our understanding of prehistoric wildlife and their ecosystems. Number 8. Frozen methane. Did you know that in the frozen expanses of our planet, there are things known as fire ice? Despite the name, fire ice is neither pure ice nor fire. Instead, it's a term given to frozen methane. It might sound like nothing significant, but if fire ice gets released, it could greatly affect our planet. Found beneath the ocean floor in permafrost regions, it remains stable under high pressure and low temperatures. When you bring a chunk of this ice to the surface and ignite it, the methane burns, hence the name fire ice. Methane hydrates are a massive potential energy resource, containing more methane than all other fossil fuels combined. However, extracting methane could negatively affect the planet. For this reason, fire ice trapped beneath our planet is technically a ticking time bomb. Researchers are now focusing on understanding the patterns of fire ice to hopefully mitigate the negative effects when it gets released. Number 7. Ice Age Bird. In 2020, 2 Russian men hunting for mammoth tusks in the permafrost of Siberia discovered the frozen remains of a bird. Initially, they paid no attention to it until they realized it was a valuable find. What they stumbled upon was a 46,000-year-old specimen of a bird that lived during the last ice age. Despite its age, the bird looked astonishingly fresh, as if it had perished only days ago. When the scientists cleaned it up, they found it in pristine condition, with intact feathers and even some visible internal tissues. This level of preservation is incredibly rare because small animals usually decompose rapidly due to scavengers and microbial activity. Subsequent research revealed that this frozen bird is a horned lark, a small songbird with distinctive black and yellow markings and tiny tufts of feathers resembling horns, hence its name. This particular bird belonged to an extinct lineage that split from modern horned larks in northern Russia and Mongolia about 80,000 years ago. This discovery shows that during the Ice Age, this region was home to many large herbivores and their predators, creating a diverse and dynamic habitat. Who knows what changes our planet will undergo as it continues to shift in time. Number 6. Mummified Bear. In 2020, reindeer herders stumbled upon an unlikely find when they discovered a bear preserved in the Siberian permafrost near Bolshoy-Lyakhovsky Island. Radiocarbon dating later revealed that the animal dates back to a staggering 3,500 years ago. The bear was later nicknamed the Bolshoy-Lyakhovsky bear, as a nod to where it was discovered. Despite being thousands of years old, the bear still had its fur, skin, claws, teeth, and body fat, and its internal organs were still intact. The bear's stomach contents were partially preserved, revealing remnants of plants and bird feathers, hinting at its last meal. Researchers from Northeastern Federal University conducted a necropsy and discovered that the bear was a female, approximately 2 to 3 years old, and weighed about 172 pounds. Research revealed that the ancient bear most likely perished due to a spinal cord injury. Today, the Bolshoy-Lyakhovsky bear's remains are being studied to learn more about its species. This research is particularly significant as it provides a rare glimpse into the life and environment of Pleistocene-era mammals. The findings could help scientists better understand the climate conditions and ecological changes that occurred during that time. Additionally, the preservation of the bear offers unique opportunities for studying the anatomy and diet of extinct bear species. The data gathered from such studies can contribute to broader discussions on biodiversity and the evolutionary adaptations of bears. Furthermore, the discovery adds to a growing list of remarkably well-preserved prehistoric animals found in the permafrost, which includes woolly mammoths, woolly rhinos, and other Ice Age fauna, enhancing our historical knowledge of the Arctic's past inhabitants. Now it's time for today's topic. Explorers reached an unexplored part of the Siberian permafrost, and what they discovered frozen in ice shocked the whole world. The permafrost, or the permanently frozen part of our planet, can preserve a lot of material, including those that might decompose in months when exposed to natural temperatures. When trapped in permafrost, many things can remain well-preserved for tens of thousands of years. That's why when explorers stumbled upon this massive block of ice, they couldn't believe their eyes. It seemed like there was something frozen within it, possibly a prehistoric man who wasn't equipped for the frozen climate of the region. Could this be yet another predecessor that we're yet to learn about, or could it be something else entirely? Moreover, what else could be lurking in the permafrost? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Number 5. 32,000-year-old organisms. In the late 1990s, researchers, including NASA astrobiologist Richard Hoover, explored a permafrost tunnel near Fairbanks, Alaska. There, they discovered bacteria that had been deeply frozen for thousands of years. These bacteria were collected from a permafrost layer dating back to the Pleistocene epoch, a time when mammoths and saber-toothed tigers roamed the earth. What's astounding is the fact that as soon as the ice melted, the organisms immediately sprang back to life. When thawed, the bacteria didn't just revive, they began to swim and reproduce much like their modern counterparts. These organisms could help researchers make potential breakthroughs in cryogenics. By understanding how these ancient organisms survived deep freezes, scientists hope to develop new methods for the long-term storage of biological materials, which could revolutionize modern medicine. Can you imagine just what we could do if we could freeze a living being and thaw it years later without negatively affecting it? That would be completely groundbreaking. Number 4. Incan Ice Maiden. In 1995, mountaineer Miguel Zared and anthropologist Johann Reinhard were welcomed by something unexpected up in the snowy peaks of the Andes, a staggering 20,000 feet above sea level, the remains of a 500-year-old mummy. This mummy is now known as Juanita, encased in ice, her body found in near-perfect condition, complete with her ceremonial attire and a headdress. She was preserved by the cold, dry conditions of the high-altitude burial site. Despite the fact that she perished centuries ago, Juanita seemed like she was simply in a deep slumber. After investigating and conducting research on her remains, the tragic life of Juanita was revealed. She was likely a young teenage girl, around 14 to 15 years old, chosen for a ceremonial sacrifice known as capicocha. This practice was believed to honor the gods and ensure the welfare of the Inca people. In her last moments, Juanita was treated with honor in preparation for being sacrificed. She spent her days in a disconcerted state before being sent to the mountains to be offered. Today, thanks to modern technology, we now know what she looked like. Using advanced techniques, Swedish sculptor Oscar Nielsen spent over 400 hours meticulously crafting a silicone model based on her skull structure, DNA, and ethnological data. The result is a hauntingly lifelike image of a young girl with high cheekbones, dark eyes, and a serene expression. A young life taken too early for what the Inca people thought was the greater good. Number 3. 30,000-year-old fur ball. In 2018, a gold miner digging through the permafrost of Canada's Yukon Territory stumbled upon an unexpected find. He discovered a small ball of fur that initially seemed insignificant but turned out to be a 30,000-year-old ground squirrel from the Ice Age. When the miners first found the brown mangled lump, it was hard to identify. Thanks to modern technology, it was revealed that the unidentifiable lump was actually a curled-up squirrel so well preserved it looked like it was merely asleep. In fact, its face, skin, and fur were all completely intact. Researchers believe that this squirrel, affectionately nicknamed Hester, likely died while hibernating beneath the ground. From tens of thousands of years ago to this day, Arctic ground squirrels continue to hibernate underground just like this one. Today, these small mammals, which resemble gophers more than tree squirrels, prepare for winter by building underground nests and entering a state of deep hibernation. During this period, their body temperature drops to just above freezing, one of the lowest recorded for any mammal. As the permafrost continues to thaw, more of these preserved remains might continue to surface. Number 2. Revived worms. In 2018, a team of Russian scientists discovered microscopic worms in the melting permafrost of Siberia. These small organisms thrived 42,000 years ago. Of course, these creatures were lifeless, but scientists decided to revive them, and they succeeded. After being lifeless in the permafrost since the Pleistocene era, researchers went ahead and brought these organisms back to life. These worms are formally called nematodes, and they are among the most abundant animals on Earth. They usually occur as parasites in animals and plants, but they also live freely in soil, freshwater, and other extreme environments like vinegar, beer malts, and even stagnant water seeping within the Earth's crust. Needless to say, these creatures are pretty hardy. One sample of these nematodes came from a fossil squirrel burrow near the Alizia River, estimated to be around 32,000 years old, and the other from the Kolyma River, dating back approximately 42,000 years. Upon being thawed and revived, the nematodes surprisingly continued with their lives as if they woke up from a short rest. The worms quickly began to move and eat, marking the first evidence of multicellular organisms returning to life after being in a natural cryopreservation state for tens of thousands of years. This is considered a breakthrough. Studying how these nematodes survived could advance fields such as cryomedicine, which focuses on preserving human tissues and organs at extremely low temperatures, potentially revolutionizing modern medicine. However, we still have a long way to go. Number 1. Otzi the Iceman. Otzi is one of the most groundbreaking discoveries in ice. About 33 years ago, in 1991, Otzi the Iceman was dug out of a glacier high in the Italian Alps. The mummy's body was remarkably intact. Research revealed just how significant Otzi truly is. For one, Otzi yielded a lot of secrets about the people who lived during the Copper Age. With his body being so well preserved, researchers figured out how Otzi lived his life and even how he looked. Standing at about 5 feet 3 inches and weighing roughly 110 pounds, he wasn't the healthiest of individuals. Scientific analysis revealed he suffered from a host of ailments, including Lyme disease, arthritis, and heart disease. As if those weren't enough, Otzi was also suffering from stomach ulcers. Despite these issues, Otzi survived and endured. What ended his life was an arrow wound to his shoulder. Whether this was an intentional or accidental injury remains a mystery. Aside from Otzi's body, his tools and clothes were also well preserved. Otzi's belongings were found scattered around him. A copper axe, a flint knife, and an unfinished bow. In his last days, Otzi ate a hearty mix of ibex meat, red deer, and wheat. Today, Otzi rests in the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy, housed in a specially designed cold cell to preserve his remains. Despite being discovered over 3 decades ago, Otzi continues to yield valuable information for researchers. What do you think about these discoveries? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.